You know what I'm going to miss the most about playing 4th Gen online? It's teams, really. You know, the teams that you made yourself, the handcrafted, the personalized. You know, not your cookie cutter OU, slap some Pokemon together and off we go, but the teams that you took the time to create yourself, to train yourself, to nickname yourself, to put together and to assemble and to browse Cerebi to find moves and to carefully construct EV spreads. And maybe they weren't the best, and maybe they weren't the most successful, but they were yours, they were personalized, and they worked some of the time. At least so I like to believe. And today, in this game, which I had on my stream, I'm going to be using one of my all-time favorite teams from 4th Gen. I used it in Standard, but it had hardly any Standard Pokemon. I believe only 2 OUs at the time. It was when Deoxys Speed was in OU. And I wanted to use that thing, and also use some interesting stuff alongside it. So, I lead off with Sophos, a Knockdown, not a Pokemon very commonly seen in the higher up tiers, but a monster nonetheless, a special defensive beast, and something which can certainly take hits well. So, I see an Aerodactyl lead, and I kind of consider switching to take the Rock Slide, but the most likely scenario when we're playing 4th Gen and I see an Aero lead is it's going to be a Suicide one. So he's going to have Focus Sash, he's going to have Taunt and Stealth Rock, and the most likely thing he's going to do is set up Rocks turn 1, try and get them on the field, which is why I decide to stay in and go for the Nightshade to break his Focus Sash. Means that I can easily KO him later on without fear of taking a hit. So I pull a switch straight into Donphan, my main man Trunks, who at this point can either set up my own rocks, predicting a ghost to come in and try and spin block, or just try and hope that he doesn't have one and go for the spin anyway and see how it works out. I turn out that I go for the spin and he ends up switching to a non-ghost, being the Tangrowth. So that's great. It means that I eliminate the rocks from the field, and as long as I can catch Aerodactyl on a switch in, or, you know, revenge kill at some point and then bring in Trunks later, I should be able to keep this game rocks free on my side. At least that's the hope. So the main problem with Tangrowth is it has a lot of things it can do. The most likely one, switching in on, you know, something like Donphan, is to go for Sleep Powder. So having Knockdown, not many people realize that this thing carries Insomnia, an amazing ability, which means I cannot be put to sleep. It makes it a really good switch in for Balloon and other Pokemon, grass Pokemon, such as Tangrowth. So he can't hit me very hard, physical or special. No matter what, I resist both his hits. So I'm going to go for the Hypnosis and try and put him to sleep. Unfortunately, it doesn't strike. Now, I had been having really good luck up until this point. I had not missed a Hypnosis. I'd hit 5 for 5, but just managed to scuff that one, and it means I lose my lefties in the process as he ends up going for the knockoff, which is a little bit unfortunate. But I do have Roost, I have Recovery, so it's not all is lost. There is hope. So pulls the switch into the Suicune. So looks like he's running a pretty bulky, you know, defensive core here. Suicune and Tangrowth. I'm kind of expecting a Heatran to go alongside it with the Fire, Water, Grass core. That makes the most sense, and it's going to be tough to break through for certain. But I have some things which can certainly do an apt job of it. So I'm going to go into one of them, which is my Jirachi. And Jirachi, the Subcon mindset, as I've said many times, my utterly favorite set. I think this is perhaps my favorite Pokemon set of all time. It just does a fantastic job of sweeping through Pokemon, sweeping through teams, and it's a joy to use. I will not deny that. So he ends up going for the Sleep Talk. You know, that's why he switched the Suicune in to take the Hypnosis, because he was a Sleep Talk variant. So he ends up taking that, trying to get off some damage with maybe a Surf, or maybe he's carrying Raw. I'm not quite sure what he was doing, but he ends up not doing that. I freely get a substitute as he switches into the Aerodactyl, and can now go for a Thunderbolt to take that thing down. Yes, he is going to break my sub with the Earthquake, but a T-Bolt is going to eliminate Aerodactyl. Now, what I could have done is, instead of going for the sub, I could have tried to just T-Bolt on the switch anyway, which would have rid me of Aerodactyl and saved me some HP. But I thought that maybe, you know, a little bit of opportunity to start setting up. Not the best of ideas, honestly. A little bit of a rash play on my part, because I still haven't seen all of his team. I don't know if he's packing a Heatran, and if he is packing one, especially if it's special defensive, then I'm going to have a tough time setting up on that thing, or almost no way that I could if it's carrying Raw, for example. So now he actually reveals the Heatran that he did have in the back of the pocket, confirming to me that he's running the Fire, Water, Grass core going on there, and, you know, I'm going to have to find my way around it. Certainly, Jirachi is going to have to be sitting back in the pews for the moment. I've got to get rid of these threats before I can start mashing through with the sweeping. So he ends up having Stealth Rocks on this thing as well, which I was like, oh, really? He's running double Stealth Rockers? That's a real pain in the ass, especially seeing as I have my Noctowl here who gets hit by the, you know, times 2. Yeah, I get hit by the Stealth Rock. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, he goes for the Fire Blast and ends up missing, which is nice. It gives me a little bit of leeway here with the Nightshade. I can get off some good damage. It turns out he's not carrying leftovers, which is interesting. I'm not quite sure what the item would be if he's running a more defensive one. It looks like he has a lot of HP investment by how much the Nightshade did. So anyway, he ends up landing the second Fire Blast, which does a pretty significant chunk. I wasn't too happy with the damage there. Like, Noctowl still takes it really well. He is monstrous at taking these hits, but not sure that I can take another one. I am, though, going to stay in just on the off chance that I'm going to be able to get off a roost here and put myself back in a better position. Hopefully he'll miss, or maybe he'll even predict my switch into something else and try some different tact. So he ends up staying in Fire Blasting, but I do get really lucky in the miss happening, able to get off that roost, and that puts me in a nice position here because as long as you know, he stays in with Heatran, it is dead and gone and out the way, and that opens up the field really for my Jirachi to come in and start sweeping and start setting up. And unfortunately for him, he ends up missing the Fire Blast. It would have done about 50% as it did last time, but I would have still killed the Heatran. So in the short run, he loses out on some damage. In the long run, it kind of makes my life a lot easier, basically. So now he pulled the switch into Toxicroak, and I don't really want to switch into my Donphan on the off chance he's carrying the Ice Punch and I take some horrible damage on switching. I would like to kind of bring that thing in freely, so I'm going to stay in with Noctowl, hope to be able to take a hit and maybe get off some damage, if not Whirlwind, if not Roost. One of those options I'm kind of thinking around, what are the possibilities here, and potentially, you know, any one of these can work. But he does end up carrying the Ice Punch, which means that I'm going to have a tough time here. Not sure if Noctowl can live it, but ladies and gentlemen, if you know one thing for certain, it is that Noctowl, Sophos, the man, the myth, the legend, is not just a pretender, but real. He is legit. So I take the hit, and I'm able to Whirlwind out his Toxicroak, which is fantastic. Means that I can essentially, you know, try and roost here, but the problem being that I think Tangrowth is actually faster than me, so that may not be something I can do. I'm kind of considering here my options, like maybe I will be able to get my health back up, maybe I won't, and I don't know. It's a tough situation to be in. I can't put anything else to sleep because, of course, you know, I already put Suicune to sleep. But he ends up going back into Toxicroak as I stay in and do get off the roost. So it means that I'm at a reasonable amount of HP. As long as I can get a Rapid Spin off, come in with half health, then Sophos is still good to go on the kind of walling Tangrowth front. So that's kind of what I want to keep it around for. And I'm going to try and maybe do that. But looking at my options here, maybe not switching, because Toxicroak can set up on me. Like, if I pull a switch now, he'd go for a Swords Dance, and that would put him in a fantastic position, even if I switched in Donphan, and Ice Punch may well be able to take me out. So it's a kind of a risky play to go for, but I do decide that, you know, the best thing to do is go into my Jirachi predicting the Ice Punch again, because once I've taken that, I will be able to outspeed him, I believe. At least that's what I thought at the time. Go for a Psychic, or even try and set up a sub in his face, and either eliminate him or put myself in a position where I can start setting up and start sweeping. So that is the plan. That's the method behind my madness here. Ends up he's actually running max speed and is faster, and I didn't think that would be the case. I assumed that with my limited investment, I believe I have 176 speed, not I believe, like, I'm a modest or calm. I'm a calm Jirachi, so I'm not actually going to be able to take you know, take that speed away from him, or outspeed him is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, gonna speed up a lot of this because Jirachi got a free window to get a substitute. There is no more Heatran, which means I'm really free to try and just set up here, be behind a sub, get Calm Minds going, and start smashing through the team. So Suicune came in to take a hit, didn't too kindly, and I'm going to set up a Calm Mind as he switches into Zapdos, which is fantastic. Get off a solid chunk with Psychic, but he looks pretty specially defensive. So what I am going to do is go for the Calm Mind here. He misses the first Heat Wave, connects the second and gets a crit on it, which doesn't really tell me whether I could have taken one or not, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, with his luck wasted with that crit there, I'm not going to be critted again, so I'm going to go for the Psychic, take another Heat Wave, 280 goes down to 186, so yes, I could have set up another substitute there if I wanted to, would have allowed me to take another Heat Wave, been behind a sub, and then taken out the Zapdos, but I didn't want to waste more of my HP, so I just decided, you know, go for the solid Psychic, then go for the sub once he's in a surefire killable range, and go for the Psychic after that has happened to eliminate Zapdos and allow Rachi. So now Rachi really behind the steering wheel. All he has left is the Toxicroak, the Suicune, and I believe one other, which I don't remember or recall what that is. I'm able to kill this thing by going for a Psychic. He will break the sub with the Sucker Punch, but no matter, because if he goes back into Suicune, I can set one up again in his face and T-Bolt. However, ladies and gentlemen, the blue screen of death hits us. Unfortunate, it really was, because the game was going, you know, it was going well in my favor. I was looking like I had that there at the very end. I could have swept through with Jirachi. If not, I still had a Deoxys Speed, guys, in the back. I still had a Azumarill. I still had a Hitmonchan. I had people who could do work, but let me tell you what, Jirachi and Noctowl basically tag team in this game. They had no opposition, and fantastic plays from the both of them. So, really enjoyed it. I hope you guys did as well. Thank you very much for watching. Keep liking, keep commenting, all that great stuff, and I'll be back tomorrow with yet another farewell 4th gen. Until then, thank you and goodbye.